Hey there. This is Pam Perry, and we are here. I'm so excited. There is a show that I am so excited about we listen. I'm trying to get on Amazon Live as well. We are on Amazon Live, we're on YouTube Live, and we are on LinkedIn Live. But this show is so special to me because this lady, without dating ourselves, I met probably almost 50 years ago. And one of the things that she's an author as well as a filmmaker, director, screenwriter, all things storyteller, Bridgett Davis. And she's with us today. We're going to be talking about her brand new book, which is a serious page turner. You cannot put it down. Love Rita, if you see that right there. I love this book. It's so raw. You're gonna have to read it with a box of tissues by you and if you're from Detroit, you're really gonna be like, oh my God, I know that street, I know that place, Hampton, yeah, middle school, this and that. So I'm gonna bring her up right after this. I'm like rambling. I'm like a fangirl because literally I love this book. So I'll bring her up right after this.
Hey yo, kick back, relax, let's dive in the page. Pam Perry picks got the books for your brain. From fiction and non-fiction, all genres insane. We coming through showing love to the lit game. Greatest stories ever told, gotta find your pick. Imagination running wild, ain't nothing slick. Get lost in the pages, let your mind drift. Pam Perry picks got your brain in the bookshelf vibe. Turning the pages with pride. Pam Perry picks got the words by your side. Bookshelf vibe, turning pages with pride. Pam Perry picks got the words by your side. From the classics to new, we got the books for you. Get your mind right, let the knowledge accrue. Bookshelf vibe, expand your horizons wide. Pam Perry picks keeping readers satisfied. Books up high, knowledge we can't deny. Get your reading on, from book one fly. Click cover image.
Hey there, Bridgett. How are you?
Hello.
So I'm gonna pick something up.
Is that our yearbook?
Yes. And listen, let me tell you, girl. So you were in performing arts.
Yes.
No surprise. You were part of the newspaper staff.
Of course.
Access and advertising. You were the feature editor. You were in film forum, like literally in the PA Guild. So you knew from way back as a kid, this is what you were supposed to do.
Well, Cass Tech helped me discover it. Truth be told, I went to the right high school, right?
Oh my God, you did. That was how we met. And so I want to, this book is a new book by Harper Collins. And I just want to read a little bit about the book. Basically, it's a book. When I say you do have to read it with a tissue, it's a searing tribute of sisterhood and family, profound love and loss from the acclaimed author of The World According to Fannie Davis, which we probably need to do a whole nother podcast about that book. But in Love, Rita, Bridgett M. Davis tells the story of her beloved older sister, Rita, who knew Bridgett before she even knew herself. Just 4 years apart in age, as the two sisters grew up into adulthood, they left behind their childhood rivalry and became best friends. And she kind of gives a story in the book about where the rivalry began in her crib when she was first born, and the 4 years apart, and Rita had said to her, shut up, anyway. So Rita was a vivacious woman who attended Fisk University at age 16. She was double promoted and went on to become a car test driver, which we'll kind of talk about how they got from Tennessee to Detroit. And an amateur belly dancer, an MBA, and later popular special ed teacher. In doing so, she modeled her younger sister, Bridgett, how to live boldly. And in the face of family tragedy, and the two sisters leaned on each other to heal, their closeness grew until Rita's life was cut short by lupus when she was just 44. I want you to talk a little bit about these numbers things, because that's what, at the beginning of it, it just really had my head spinning. When this led Bridgett to ask the simple question, heartbreaking, why Rita? Love, Rita is a brave and beautiful homage that not only celebrates that special and complex bond of sisterhood, but also reveals what it is to live and die as a Black woman in America. And that, to me, was the underlying theme that you talked about, weathering, and I'll let you explain what that is. In this moving memoir full of joy and heartbreak, family history along American history uses Rita's life as a lens to examine the persistent effects of racism in the lives of Black women and the men they love. This poignant, deeply resonant portrait of an unforgettable woman and her impact on those she left behind is essential reading. And so I've been telling everybody I know that we went to high school with, did you get Bridget's book? Did you gotta get it? Because I got mine at Barnes and Noble, and I was like, it's in Barnes and Noble. You can go get it. You don't have to get it. You know, we're on Amazon Live, but yeah, you can get it from Amazon Live too. But I want to say, first of all, congratulations. This book, I didn't read your other ones. I will be honest, I didn't. I'm going to go get your other ones as well. But the thing that just really surprised me about the book, besides it being so personal, was your vocabulary and the love of language, I love words too, was just captivating. So usually I would read books, and I read a lot of books, and I would scan them. But yours, you want to read morsel by morsel because of the words that you chose. And I know this took a while for you to put together, and I savored it. I savored it. And I think anybody who reads this book will savor it, and they will find themselves in part of this. But the overlying theme of it is what I saw you doing the research for this. I mean, it kind of in the book, you kind of talk about it, but then I was like, oh no, she did some real research doing this part, right? You know, so I just want to say the love of language that started from high school, like from way back in 1978 from Cass until the maturity of this book. I think I don't know how you can top this. This was amazing.
Oh,
What is
thank
the
you so
response
much.
for this of the book so far?
The response has been so heartwarming because, as you say, it's a very personal book. So I wasn't sure how it would be received. It's the most personal book I've ever written. And so how gratifying that everywhere I go on book tour, I get the reception that really makes me feel held up, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not only did I go to places where my sister had friends who showed up, where I had friends who showed up. Detroit was incredible for the obvious reasons, because so many people who knew Rita were there in the audiences at the events I held there. And that really has made me so grateful, you know, that people understood what I was attempting to do and embraced me and embraced the
Mm-hmm.
story. So it's been great. It's been great.
Well, one of the things that you talked about that she passed at 44. So
Yeah.
give us the significance of these numbers and give us a little backdrop for those who don't know about why numbers are important to you and your family.
Yeah. Well, Pam, my mother was a number runner. And the first
Fannie.
memoir I wrote
Mm-hmm.
was to finally reveal that family secret that we had a solid middle class life in Detroit because my mother ran numbers. And so literal numbers were essential in our lives. I mean, vital, quite frankly. And also, they just carried a lot of meanings.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how numbers work. They're just like the lottery, right? So
Yeah.
people are playing their home address and they're
Your
playing,
birthday.
their birthdays and they're playing their license plate numbers, all the things, Bible verses. It does not matter. So, no, seriously.
419. Philippians 419. Like whatever. Yeah, I would do that.
Yep, you know, verse chapter 4, verse 19. That's right. So when I decided to write this book about Rita, I realized that her personal number was 4. I mean, she knew it too. We talked about it. And she had all of these things in her life that were proof that that was her number that kind of followed her around, you know. And
Mhm.
so I embraced that. I mean, she had 4 letters in her name. She was the 4th child in the family. She was 4 years older than me. I mean, the number 4 just kept coming up. So I just
Mhm.
leaned into it and divided the book into 4 parts.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
actually wrote 44 chapters to honor think about that. When she died, she was 44.
44.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one of the things, how long did it take? I think it was the date where the book was launched or released, or when you finished it. What was it? It was the like 4 no, not 4 years.
Yeah,
Like
you're right. You're right. I committed to writing the book on her birthday. In April of 21, and 4 years later it's in the world.
You know? Wow. And April was the 4th month. So yeah. So that part, when you're reading a book and I'm reading it and it's like, oh, it's a memoir, but the research and the time and the thoughtfulness of the book is what I really admired. And then also the rawness too of the book, because you can kind of feel the things. The part that I really like the most, Bridgett, is the epilogue.
Yeah.
Because it brought everything, if she were here. And so, celebrating Michelle and Barack Obama in the White House, or that or she would be on Google, it's like, wow, that was, it was a lot. And so that reflection, because after you're reading the book, it's like, wow, this is current. But then you go back, it's like, no, this is so much that history has passed that you wish you could have shared with your sister.
That's it. Exactly. That's it. Because what happens when we lose someone, it is as much about what they'll never get to experience with you as it is what you missed that you did together.
Right.
Yeah. And she literally was looking forward to the 21st century. So it was easy to imagine what she would have loved.
So your family came from Nashville, and your dad came up, and I had just said this to Mark the other day, and I said, a lot of people think that we come Great Migration, we're coming from wherever we are to Detroit, but sometimes not necessarily Detroit, they go to Pontiac, and that's where you stop first. That's where your dad stopped first. And I said, because Pontiac was there. That's where all the things were. He didn't stay there. He moved back to Detroit, but the migration from Nashville up to Detroit, or the Detroit area to Pontiac. And so I thought that was really, really interesting. And then you moved to a street on Delaware. Well, your family did. And then you moved to Broad Street in the Russell Woods kind of an area, that sort of thing.
That's it.
Yeah. So you had a different life from each one of your siblings, the first 3 siblings, and then your first 3 siblings, your other 2 sisters, and then your brother, and then Rita, and then you.
Yeah, so imagine that. You're like, I really believe every child's born into a different family.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 siblings were born in Nashville, so they migrated with my mom and dad. And then my sister Rita was born in Detroit when they were struggling, newly migrated and trying to get a foothold. And by the time I was born, my mom had figured out that numbers business. And I was born, as they like to say, to French provincial baby furniture,
Right.
It was such a contrast. Yeah.
So each child was different. But one of the things that you talk about in the book, and this is just with anyone who's caregiving, by the time Rita passed, there was no other caregivers. You were the primary caregiver. You were her family, because your brothers and sisters, your mother and father, all of them had passed. And you were calling places. You were living in New York. You're calling places like Detroit Area Agency on Aging. You're trying to figure out whether we should put the house in a trust. You just had a baby. And the baby, give us a little bit of the story about during that time. I felt at that point you could have broke, because there was so much going on. So give us a clue what was going on towards the end of her life with the beginning of your son's life.
Right. I had just turned 40. She had said, "Happy birthday," sent me a beautiful card that she had made just for me, right, by an artist friend. Within 2 weeks, when I talked to her, she wasn't well. I mean, it was that quick, where it just shifted. I had, as you said, a new baby. He was just months old. And so now I'm in this position where I need to tend to my sister's needs and my babies. And so I was flying back and forth. I'll just be honest, I was breastfeeding. So I had to take him with me. And just trying my best, dropped into this dynamic I knew so little about. I wasn't prepared, talking to doctors, figuring out services, trying to make sure she got all the care she needed. It was a lot. It was a lot. And then lo and behold, my son developed a tumor in his mouth.
That part,
that part,
that just, I can't even imagine.
That part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's going
through I got through
CAT scan, surgery. Yeah.
Biopsy, because you don't know. We had to wait a week to find out if our baby had, cancer. Fortunately, it was a benign tumor, but that was a long week in my life. Long week.
Oh my God. So we are talking with Bridgett M. Davis. The book is called Love, Rita. It's a memoir about her and her sister. That's her on the cover there with that bright smile that people always talked about. And it is. I didn't know your sister, but after reading the book, I wish I had known her. Yeah. She sounds so, especially when she was driving those cars. She had me, you had me cracking up talking about she's driving those cars. It was like, oh my God, she had like the coolest things. Yeah. And the difference is the part that you said she knew you before you knew yourself. And there was one little line, and I wore this pink and green just to into your honor, talking about that.
Thank you.
But she said something that you were like, I don't know about that, because you were both in Atlanta. You both went to HBCUs, but she was at Atlanta University. I think you were at Spelman. And something about, said, well, I'm not really much of a joiner or something. And she says, well, you seem like an AKA. And you were like, what does that mean? And then you ended up in AKAs.
I did. She had a big impact on me. Like I said, she knew me a little better than I knew myself sometimes.
Yes. So you have gone on in your career to do, like I said, I'm read from high school. You're in newspapers. You work for other newspapers. You work for the Atlanta Constitution and Journal. You work for the Philadelphia Tribune, film, teaching, the whole thing. So how did, I'm asked this for the people who said, I want to write one, but a Harper Collins book does not come easy. And the media tours that you're doing do not come easy. So tell us a little bit about how that came about. Did you just go out and get an agent, or you knew someone at Harper Collins? What was the story behind this imprint?
Well, I already had a literary agent. And I've had one really throughout my career. I've written 2 novels, and now this is my second memoir. On the strength of the sort of, wide reception for The World According to Fannie Davis, I had a position I was in to say, I want to write this next book, and we were able to just approach different publishers with, how it works. You do a proposal.
Yeah. Right.
And
write a book proposal.
Yeah. Fortunately, because folks saw I had a track record, they saw I'd written a successful memoir before, I had an audience with different editors, different publishers. And so HarperCollins bid on the book, quite frankly. And that's the one we went with, because I really adored the editor.
Okay. And so did you finish the book, or you only had the proposal and they were guiding you through writing it, or you had already written it and they kind of did the editing?
Yeah, actually, I had the proposal and I had about 50 pages.
Okay. All right. So you're just kind of getting started. So they were guiding you through.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't know if it's just because I'm fortunate, but actually, I wrote and would send in pages. The edits were so minor, they were very light, because my editor's feeling was, you know what you're doing here. And I guess it's true. I had just written a memoir, so I did know a bit more this time around about how to say what I wanted to say. And so she was so great about, honestly, letting me write the book I wanted to write.
I love it. And so you had the letters too. Now, how did you? Who saved the letters? Where did the letters come from? Because that was who. I, I'm I'm a I'm a pack rat. I love paper. I save a lot of paper, but I didn't know everybody else saved it. Especially
Yeah.
notes and cards.
Oh,
Yeah. So
all
did
those,
you save them, or did she have them, or where were they?
okay, I hope this doesn't sound too woo-woo, but I did have a trunk where I placed all her things when I packed up her apartment. She lived at the riverfront, and I packed up everything, and I didn't touch it for 20 years. I couldn't even open it, look in it. It was just sitting there. I remember I put everything in there. Like, I don't know why I did. It wasn't like I was thinking at the time I'm going to write a book. I just put it all in there. Letters and, all of her like valuable documents, books she loved. I just threw it all in this trunk. Pam, when I opened the trunk, finally ready to write this book, there lay all of her letters that she had written to me that I had saved and bound together with a ribbon. I don't remember doing it. I have no memory of doing it.
That's what I was wondering. Like, who does that?
I know.
She did never all together. And it took 20 years. And that beautiful part of it, just for you all, when you get the book, you'll see that the actual letters that are inserted at certain points in time to help frame the book of the timing of where it is and all that kind of thing. And people talked a lot about her fashion, her smile. There was some situations that I wanted you to go into about Black women. And I told Sharon Rose that we all went to high school with, that this book, it's a memoir, but it also is a bigger story about weathering.
Yes.
Weathering, how Black people maybe hold in, sometimes they say it's in our DNA, all of the trauma that we have gone through over time. I remember my uncle just passed, and I didn't know this, but one of my relatives said that he told them before he passed a story that he grew up in Florida, that he remembered as a child hearing people murdered, being put into the swamp, eaten by alligators.
Oh my God.
I said, he never told me that. And I think I would probably be out of my mind if I had, but he developed serious alcohol problem. He was an alcoholic. And we don't know where that comes from. But can you imagine as a child hearing the screaming? And I was like, oh my God. And that's in my family that I didn't know. I'm like, what other things have we gone through as a people that we don't know that is affecting our health overall? So kind of talk about how that came about.
In your body, it's in your body. Yeah.
You had a friend that helped you kind of like uncover that, or the underlying story about that. I can't remember which one of your friends. I think it was Linda, but I can't remember. But she said that's the story that you need to tell as well, and that was the type of research that you did. So talk about weathering and what that means.
Yeah, when I learned the term, it hit me so hard. I finally had language for what I had been feeling all along. Like, I just knew that Black folks didn't disproportionately get all of these diseases just because we were Black. Like, that makes no sense, And people would often tell Black folks, maybe you have bad habits, or you have bad genes, or
you eat the wrong food,
or you have bad behavior, or you have bad luck. I mean, it was always like your fault. And finally, this woman came up with this term 40 years ago, but it's only now becoming more popular. A researcher from the University of Michigan, by the way, Arlene Geronimus, she was like, basically, Black folks and other marginalized people are dealing with so much systemic racism that we are constantly weathering those conditions. We're just weathering them. We're getting through them. But they are weathering us. They are weathering our major biological systems that are supposed to keep us living and healthy. And so finally I had an explanation for what I knew. I knew that all of that stress was creating trauma in the body that you
Yeah.
feel just being a Black person in this country, you know,
That
trying
was,
to.
yeah, that was the most poignant part. I tried to explain that to Sharon, and I said, read it not just for her story, but the overall arch and what she's uncovering and explaining. Because a lot of our elders, our parents, and things like that, they have these kind of diseases. A lot of it is Alzheimer's or dementia and things like that. And it's like, what is going on? Or, like you said, other diseases that, you know, we talk about health disparities, but why? And that gives it a voice, because, you know, Rita was so young, and you talk about her being almost like an empath, I guess you would say.
Yes.
It's kind of like she felt a lot from everybody, and she was protective of everyone, and that, and then your father as well, you know, where they had big hearts for everything and everybody. But we never know. You talked about your dad didn't talk about some of the things that he probably went through when he was in World War II.
Exactly.
And a lot of us don't realize that our parents probably went through so much, but they don't talk about it. So they keep it in, and it comes out in other ways. And that was kind of like the underlying story that you talked about in here, that weaves in your science research, because you were a chem bio major before you became
briefly. You knew that. So then I had Miss Branch for chemistry, and it was all over.
You must have been tabbed Miss Branch.
I did. I had Miss Branch.
Oh yeah, she made a whole lot of people say, you better think about this again.
Yeah.
She was no joke. But this book, I just want to congratulate you again. This is so good. Love, Rita is on its way to being a New York Times bestseller. I just feel it. It's really time for this. And you talk about the systemic racism and all those other type of things. And it's a story about her, the love for her, but also it gives you the other story as well, of understanding that. And you have great endorsements too on the back as well. So I just want to say that that's part of the marketing as well, that you have. And Amani Perry, no relation, New York Times bestseller of South to America. So anyway, so you had a lot of people that are, so I want people who have read the book to go on Amazon, write a review, or do a video review, 5-star review. So I'm not going to ask you just write a review, do a 5-star review, but just push it up so other people can find it. It's well written. I love this book. It is really good. It's really good. And novels are a lot harder to write, I think. But this was probably your hardest book, even though it's nonfiction, because it was so personal.
So challenging to write. Yes, absolutely. Hardest. But it was also such a rewarding experience, because once I shared it, I feel as though I lifted the weight of my own sadness, you know. And so many people told me it was helpful to them, and that's really, that makes it feel like it was worth it, you know.
And then your children, the children know your sister too, that they didn't know her. You know, your baby was a baby when she, you know, and so your daughter and your son kind of know about her from having this. I love books; they're legacy books. You know,
they're legacies, right? That's right.
So will it be a movie? Yeah. The last question: will this be a movie, a docu-series?
Well, The World According to Fannie Davis
screenplay.
The World According to Fannie Davis actually is getting closer to becoming a film. So who knows? Who knows?
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, definitely. I would love to help support you when that one does become a film as well. And so people can click the link for your other books, and they can rent your first Naked Acts and that kind of thing. You're just doing all the creative things that really are making a difference in the world. Really, really is making a difference. So thank you so much for joining Pam Perry's Picks. I want people to get the book. I want them to leave a 5-star review. I want them to tell other people to buy the book. Now that I have my book, I do not share books. I am one of those people, like, if you want to become my enemy, borrow a book and don't send it back. Okay. We're gonna fight. So get your own book. You know, I see you got books back there too. What if somebody came and said,
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
It's like, you better bring my book back. No. And I tell people, I said so many times, Black people could be bestsellers if we weren't just borrowing each other's books. Just go buy the book. All right. Well, thank you so much. I got a comment over here. What did she say? Oh, it says, Glenary Cole, he says, we are a driving force behind the thriving organization in the process of the midst of our own surviving. So thank you so much for coming. He says, we weathered the social and political weather, and we are engaged and choose not to be. So yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much for that comment there. He's chiming in from LinkedIn. So thank you so much for joining us, Bridgett. It was really great talking with you.
So good to see you.
Yes,
so
yes. We're coming up on a big I know we're coming up on a big one, I think, pretty soon.
Yeah. I'll see you there, right?
Yes, I will definitely be there. I will definitely be there. That is like the main time that I kind of get myself together and start really exercising and doing the diet thing.
Exactly. Motivation.
Right. And that is not how you're supposed to live your life, but it's like those reunions will get you together.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Take care. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
That was Bridgett M. Davis. Make sure you get the book and make sure that, get it as a gift for someone too. It's really, really a good book, especially someone who has lost someone. It's really good for you to get this type of book as well. This will bless them. It will help them if they are grieving, or if they're missing family members. We all miss family, and this really helped me as well. So with that, I am Pam Perry, and I'm out. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.